Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Royal Sussex Live. Welcome, one and all. Also, I'd like to say welcome to the Amen section. There was quite a bit of an Amen section in the comments. I think it was yesterday. Oh, you should have saw it. Uh, I don't know why he talking about those other people. Why is he talking about that? Let me see. How did they put it? Despicable. Yeah, despicable. I'm like, oh boy, somebody didn't put a bee in somebody's bonnet today. I wasn't sure what was going on. And then it was a co-signer that had this pretty much the same sentiment. It was like three people from the sewing circle or whatever it was that seemed to be puzzled that I had mentioned some of the other royals. And I'm just like, that is so weird. I think there's like what 1,100 and might even be 1,200 videos at this point. I forget. I lost track. But there's got to be over 1,100 and some change of videos. And ain't nothing different for like about a year and a half. There's very little difference. So here's the thing, save yourself the trouble and just start your own channel. If you have a smart device, a tablet, a phone, an old PC that you rarely use, it doesn't take much. And the thing is, we'll support you. As long as you're a Sussex friendly space, we will support you. I will support you. The thing is, there are so many different channels. There's something for everybody's taste. How many times have I said I should not be the only person that you're listening to? I would never ever want to do that. That's why it was so odd, but I could see that there was hi, crouching chicken hidden egg. I actually did that by mistake, but thank you. Also, thank you for being here, First Lady Metatrons. But yeah, it was just so bizarre. I'm just like, well, obviously, these are not people that watch Royal Sussex routinely if they haven't figured that out yet. But yeah, it was just like, oh, they were reading me the riot act. I loved it though. Oh, they were reading me the riot act. So I got a kick out of it. But yeah, I'm just like, thinking to myself, save yourself the frustration. Just start your own channel, and then everything is going to go exactly how you want it, and we will support you. I promise. We promise you that we will. You don't have to be clever. You don't have to be anything in particular. If English is not your first language, then so be it. We will still support you. Um, but I don't see the and it wasn't one person, it was like three of them that were just like having this thing going on, and it was just very bizarre to me because nothing has really changed about Royal Sussex in ages. So I could not, I could see if I never spoke about any other royal ever before, but that's kind of like my stock in trade. It's the way I alleviate the frustrations of certain things is take the fight to them, push back. That's what I love to do. And that's what some people appreciate. So just start your own channel, and I promise you, we will support you. All, I think it was three of you. Hello, Lambert Charles, Jennifer Clark, Mama Jane, Fancy, B. Martin, Lydia Washington. Where's Church Nellie that shamed me into coming on early? Where's Church Nellie? Church Nellie shamed me into coming on early yesterday. So, there's Church Nellie. Bessie Knox, thank you so much for your new membership. Um, And thank you so much for watching Royal Sussex. Yeah, I think my favorite part was despicable. That that reminds me of Andrew, the sick old man. Disgusting. How funny. Oh well. But yeah, so I hope that's helpful, and I promise you, we will support you in your endeavors, and that is the truth of it. Just as long as you're a Sussex friendly space. But I tell you, if we get any whiff that it's a deranger, you'll never see or hear from us again, and that's a promise. Let me see here. Yes, Church Nelly is here. Yeah, yeah, Church Nelly is here. I'm surprised. I didn't think you got in before 5:30 a.m. Let's see, Elaine Parker. Thank you so much for your super sticker, and thank you for being here, of course, and being a member of Royal Sussex. Okay, let's get on with it then, shall we? Okay. Oh, let me move myself out of here. I love this photo. I don't know why I put it on the left side like that. I'm always assuming I need to make room, but I love that image of the ladies from the suits. I love it so much. And also, am I wrong? Did I hear that Petal of Facts and Two Cents has already started binging Suits? So I got some catching up to do because I kind of thought quietly and unassumingly that both of us would have probably like really got into it without the other knowing, but I haven't started yet. And because of everything that's coming up, I'm like, oh, is this really the time? Is this really the time? So we'll see. Hello, Alma Andrews. Thank you so much for watching Royal Sussex, and happy Friday to you. Earlier than usual, thanks to Church Nelly start time shaming me. Let me see here. Betsy Knox says, I think it's awfully funny how none of the other content creators would touch on the subject of that person. Yes, who paid all that money to someone that they never met for something that they certainly didn't do, but yet they were willing to come off of that huge amount of money for someone that they never met and for something that they didn't do. That is odd, but then again, I think it's enough to have, I guess, really upset Her Majesty the Queen. And well, like I said, instead of trying to blame the Sussexes for a poor potato crop or what is it, sandstorms or whatever's going on, instead of trying to blame them, think about the rest of that misfit of a family. Yeah, they're the ones that's trouble. Thank you, Betsy Knox. Okay, and poor Lizzie. You know, I heard, and this is like, I can't prove it. I'm not there, but they said that the two households, the Queen's household and Charles's household, seemed to be in conflict, and that Charles gave a very, shall we say, um, his lack of respect for his mother, which you know what, and I'm not going to judge him for that because I can understand. Not every parent is Florence Henderson. Florence Henderson wasn't even Florence Henderson. So not every parent is the Huxtables, you know. So I can understand that he probably had some feelings about his mom, and even though he put on this public performance that he was so thoughtful and kind, and Charles is very performative, and so I'm pretty sure he had some pretty bad feelings about his mother and his father. And obviously, as he got older and given the future that he was expecting, I'm pretty sure that Charles had kind of lost respect for Her Majesty along the way. Um, they're not a typical family, which makes it very um, odd that Harry turned out the way he did, except for one thing: his mother. If it wasn't for his mother, he would be just like the rest of them. And fortunately for him, Diana realized, this son I can save. The other son, well, that belongs to the institution and there's not much I could do about it. But at least I can protect this son. And she has protected him, even through everything that's happening today. He is still protected by her love and by her rearing, by all of the grace that she had to give him. He's still protected. The other one, well, hopefully one day he'll come around. But yeah, so the two households, the Queen's people felt as though that they were being dissed and disrespected from Charles's household, right? And yeah, ugh, they're not just a typical family. They're a firm. They're an institution. They're not real family to each other, which is really sad. Lorna Williams, Baron, I thought you coming on late to avoid the YouTube replay. Oh, you know what, Lorna? Let me tell you something. I had to give them the what for. You know how sometimes I say I have trouble monetizing videos? Well, one of the videos, okay, there is some background music that comes with my PC, and I used it for a video, and they told me that it was a copyright, and I told them it's not. Okay, so the first time, no problem. The second time, they said it was a copyright again, right? And so I wrote them this lengthy thing. I gave them links and examples. This came with my computer, it's in the public domain. And they finally released the payment for that particular video. But, you know, I hate to let them just get away with that. So you really have to fight your corner with that, because there are people that they will swear that you stole their music or something like that, and they will get your earnings or split your earnings with. That's not fair. And I knew it was in the public domain, and I just could not let that one go. So, you know, especially as expensive as this computer is, how dare you try to take that away from me? So I did, and finally they agreed that I was not at fault. But yeah, I've had to do that a couple times, and unfortunately, I wasn't able to save that one thing that Black Queen liked so much. They're not letting go of that one, but the other ones, I have been able to fight those successfully. So that's, well, what could I say? A win is a win, right? But thank you so much, Lorna Williams, for being here today. And thank you for supporting the channel. Annie Bennett, 13 months membership. Thank you so much for that. And thank you for being a member of Royal Sussex. You know what I was thinking too, you guys? I'm going to have to do some more merch for the channel. It's the reason why I haven't really bothered with it is because that spring, it was very confusing. I tried to change the design and I ended up messing up something. So I just took the whole site down. But I'm going to see if there's like a different one that I can use, because the spring, I was trying to add more colors and variety, and it was a complete flop. So I'm going to try something else, even if it's not connected to with the link that you could share like that. I'll do something else just in case somebody wants some merch. We don't make a lot from those anyway, so it's not the biggest deal. But I mean, if you guys are interested in that, put some blue hearts on the screen. Or no, that's too complicated. Just put some flowers on the screen and just let me know who might be interested. Um, and plus, those things are kind of pricey for the consumer. I'm just like, But I guess if it's custom made, then it costs what it costs. But let me know. Put some hearts up there, and then I'll try to do something after Invictus. So put some more merch up. But thank you, Annie Bennett, for your 13 months membership. Rosalind Gatewood, watch out for Willie's nervous breakdown is coming. I know, he's like a powder keg. He's incandescent with rage. I think Whitley said it best on what was that television show? Whitley, the one that used to come on after Cosby. Someone had just like freaked out about something, and she said, "Dear God, still waters run deep." Oh my goodness, that was so funny. Dear God, still waters run deep. That was so perfect. I love that. But thank you so much, Rosalind. And looks like do you have another one here? Oh, you did a twofer, but thank you so much for both. I appreciate it. At least I think that's a twofer. But thank you very much. And as always, thank you for supporting the channel. All right, Thelma Christmas. All right. Thank you for the super sticker. And happy Friday to you. I love that color. It's kind of like gold. It's a little yellow. No, well, actually, I saw one of those. I think it was a Kia that was like that, like bright, satiny yellow like that. Well, that's more gold, but you know what I'm saying. It was a very unusual color. It looked like lemonade with metallic sparkles in it. That kind of color. God, it was beautiful. It almost looked like a toy. It was like the color of a toy car instead of a real car. But I love when people are daring enough to have car paint color that looks more like a toy than a real car. It really stands out too. Love that. Let me see here. I will try. I will try. You know what I'll do? I will put it I'm not gonna do it today though. I'll do a test run with it and see what happens. I'll do a test run. But yeah, I want that video back. But some band mixed that in their song, and I was sure that was in the public domain. But I will try again because I hate to let that go. That was too much fun. Hello, Jennifer Clark. Thank you so much for the super sticker, and thank you for watching Royal Sussex. Happy Friday. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the weekend. It is the weekend. TGIF. That was a movie, wasn't it? Joy Amore, thank you for the super sticker. And Kathy Rose Lou says, there are no leaks in Montecito. I'd buy that merch. Oh, cool. And whenever we say that, of course, I always have to show the shoreline of Montecito in Santa Barbara County in the Golden State of California. I was just looking at Prince Harry on Stephen Colbert again. And I love how, Prince Harry was saying that America is a great place to live. And I mean, just listening to him, and I believe the reason why one of the squaddies shared that is so that people would be very clear, because I know people get nervous when Harry goes back over to his family's nation, to the UK, and it's almost like Manchurian Candidate. Like there's some kind of program that they may have infected him with, and all they have to do is ring a bell or something like that, and they're going to try to brainwash him or something like that. But Harry is in such a good space right now, and for as a man, it must feel good to him to be able to not only have left that very restrictive life that he had, but to make a go of it, to be successful here. Um, he's he he's been able to take his life passion, and that is ending like family trauma to deal with generational pain. He's been able to take that and get himself on the Me You Can't See with Oprah. He's been able to what is it, Better Up, and all of these people that he are in community with, in communication, should I say, this community that he's in communication with. How much has he grown since he walked down the aisle of St. George Chapel? How much has he grown? He dresses better, he looks better, everything is going great for him, even though there's those bullies over there that are trying to do everything they can to provoke him. Still, he has not seemed to have lost his cool in any way that is perceivable by the public. Even the night they were chased through the streets of Manhattan, although he looked a bit worn from it, he still kept his cool. And that's what they want. They're doing everything that they can to try to provoke something from him. That is why that monster yells at Meghan every time she has an appearance somewhere. If he can be there, he'll yell something to her, hoping to provoke Harry. It's not that he's expecting her to turn and deck him. They want Harry to do that. And I was watching a documentary about, of all people, stay with me, you guys, of all people, Bo Derek. I watched the documentary about Bo Derek. And just like the assumptions I had about Paris Hilton, she was not the person I thought she was. Um, she stumbled into Hollywood. Her mother worked for, I think it wasn't Anne Margaret. Was it Anne Margaret? May have been Anne Margaret. And well, she was this beautiful young lady. She was a teenager, and they told her, you should try to get into acting. She was in high school and was not prepared for the life that she had. So, she where was I going with this? Anyway, she wasn't prepared for the life that she had, but she managed to do some work behind the scenes eventually. John Derek, of course, he had that thing about the three women that he. But anyway, she wasn't the person that I thought she was. She was able to grow into the life that she had, to deal with the cards that was dealt her and everything. She was widowed at a very young age when John Derek died. Just not the person that I thought she was, but it just goes to show that you can overcome some of those things. And people make the assumption that, oh, she was the most beautiful woman in the world and all this attention. Well, she was at a press conference for a movie, right? And this is where I was going with this. And all of a sudden, the reporters, the paparazzi, they're yelling at her. And she had never experienced that before. And she fled the place in tears. And she promised that she would never, ever sit through something like that again. And the management well, not the management, but the producers, they said, that's what we wanted. And it did make all the papers. It did get the movie. I don't know if it was for 10 or for some other movie. And, it's just as Harry was saying, they want to upset you. They did that to Princess Diana. They called Diana everything but a child of God to provoke her into some type of confrontation. And once you reach at them, they got what they wanted. They got what they wanted. And so, Yellow Rose Tea, you're leaving. Let me see. A whole bunch of you guys here now. But yeah, once that happens, they got you. And that's what they want from you. They want you to have a meltdown. And they will call you the W word or H word, interchangeable. They'll call you all kind of stuff to get that provocation going so that they can snap that photo and you'll make all the papers. They did that to Harry time and time again. But look at where Harry is now. If they could not have gotten the provocation that they wanted on the streets of Manhattan, they just don't have that Harry to kick around anymore. He's not that person anymore. You know what they say? Be who you are and not who you were. They don't have him anymore. So, you guys, if you're worried about him going to the UK, and I was listening to Spaces earlier, and there's people who say, well, intellectually, I know that things are going to be okay, but in my heart, I'm nervous, I'm afraid, I'm this, I'm that. He's going to be just fine. He's going to be just fine. Things are different. Things are different. I don't know if they settled everything about security and such, but he'll be fine. Don't worry about it. Harry has been doing very well, ensuring that his trips over there are pretty flawless. Now, the only incident that has happened that we know of since he left Narnia was when he was at the Well Child event at Kew Garden. Apparently, they were followed because there were no royal protection officers that time. But when he went to court, I can assure you there were royal protection officers. So hopefully, to avoid any embarrassment or whatever, hopefully they are the what do you call it? The royal protection, the Ravek, his father, whoever is concerned, that is still the king's son. That is the son of the head of state. I hope they are using good judgment for this visit where Harry is concerned, because unfortunately, things are very bleak for Britain right now, which is unfortunate. But the Tories, the right-wing movement, the Brexiteers, and of course the royal family, people are just, they depend a lot on Americans for tourism. They depend on a lot of people for tourism. Tourism is a major industry, but the negative signals that are coming out, nothing to do with the common working class person, but the movers and the shakers, the government, the royal family, and of course the tabloid media. It's like the trilogy of terror. And those are the individuals that's really making the country look bad. And whilst they're doing all of that, they're not doing anything to make life more affordable for the consumers, for the working class, which is a real shame. And for the minority, and it is a minority of people, it's not most people, it's just a selected few people that are okay with the way things have been going lately, um, you got to pray for them. Pray that they'll get good sense, because it's really cutting off your nose to spite your face. You're shooting yourself in the foot if you're throwing all of your wages or your votes, whatever you're throwing at the Tories, whatever you're doing with that. I don't know if anybody saw the one Good Morning Britain, where the lady was saying she took in a girl from Ukraine, and that the girl has already gotten a job. She was able to get all this assistance from the government. And the one guy who, I don't know if he's Pakistani, I don't know where he's from, but the one host on Good Morning Britain, the guy with the darker skin, um, he said, well, it's racism, right? Because there's all type of people migrating to the UK that can't get any help. But if you have blonde hair and blue eyes, they will move heaven and earth for you. And because of politics, they're spending a fortune playing this little shell game, moving people around that may be from the Middle East, or have dark skin, whatever the case. But they are financing and funding the success for the Ukrainians. And that is really stupid, because you're showing other people, if the government makes up their mind, then it can be done. And instead of pretending like there's nothing we can do, we got to get all of those Windrush people out of here. There's nothing we can do for them. But you're moving heaven and earth for Ukrainians. What kind of message are you sending, except for othering people? Very good at othering people. So, yeah, I hope they get it straight. I hope they get it straight. I hope they can get a government that is representative of everyone. You know, we struggle with that in the US, but um, I tell you, when you don't have that, it hurts everybody. So, anyway, that was my soapbox moment. Meghan's wedding dress. Oh, let me take a look at a couple of your comments before I go on. Meghan's wedding dress is trending lately. Um, don't know if you guys know this, but the something blue is actually sewn into the hem of the dress. A piece of an outfit that she wore on their first date. Let me see. Joy Henry, thank you for the super sticker, and thank you for watching Royal Sussex. Let's see. The U.S. opened the southern border to let Ukraine in freely. They stopped when someone called them out in the media. Yeah. Don't every country do that? Don't every country do that? When it was too many people of color in Brazil, they sent all the way to Poland and every place else to try to get more white folks. They did that here in the United States for years. They would barely let any people of color in here. It's a reaction, and that's why the right wing movement is so volatile. People are reacting out of fear of others. The Western world is getting too brown for people's taste. But I'm sure that a lot of indigenous populations around the world, they looked up and said, where have all these Europeans coming from? What happened to all of our minerals and our treasures? What happened to our Benin bronzes? What happened to our diamonds? And they seem to have no control over it, but the pendulum is swinging the other direction, and they're afraid. That's why the thing about women's reproductive rights is such a flashpoint in politics. It's not that they really care whether women do or don't. The only reason why they worry about it is they want to make sure that only women of color can do that, and not white women, because they want to make sure that the United States is going to be as white as possible. By the year 2050, white people will cease to be the majority in this country. And that is why so many Western countries are so messed up right now. It's because everybody's reacting to that. But all I can say is, well, you went around the world and you spread your seed here, there, and everywhere. You took from all the other countries, and now things are coming back the other direction. So it's it's inevitable. Harry was going to marry her no matter what. Go Harry. Thank you so much for that, B. Martin. And thank you for the super sticker as per usual. So let's get to the dress. Let me take a sip of water. In the Vanity Fair, Meghan Markle's wedding dress nods to Hollywood and American royalty. Designer Claire Wade Keller also shares a new detail on the something blue from the Sussex's first date. Well, I guess it is kind of new to some people, but we already. Oh, wait a minute. This is not in the right order. This is not in the right order. I'm going to have to try to come. Well, I don't want to do that because then I'll forget about it. Where am I? Okay. Well, anyway, so let me just get to the something blue. Yeah, and I have a picture of the something blue, but it's a little further away. So on May the 19th, 2018, the royal nuptials of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex made history and broke traditions, with the bride, Meghan Markle's wedding dress, almost serving as an allegory, that is. An estimated 1.9 billion people tuned in to watch Prince Harry and Meghan say their I do's, while 600 guests, including Serena Williams, Oprah Winfrey, Idris Elba, David and Victoria Beckham, and the cast of Suits filled Windsor Castle's St. George Chapel. British gospel ensemble, the Kingdom Choir, sang Benny King Stand By Me, as Chicagoan Michael Curry, the first Black presiding bishop of the Episcopal Church, quoted Martin Luther King in his powerful sermon in Windsor. Around 100,000 enthusiastic supporters turned out in person to catch a glimpse of the festivities. I was one of them. There was something about the gown that really captured the new journey that that the Sussexes were going to be on, says Markle's wedding dress designer Claire Wade Keller. The artistic director of Givenchy, and the first woman to hold the role, the fact that this was a very different wedding and ceremony to any other royal event in the chapel or any royal wedding previously. Taking inspiration from Hollywood and fashion royalty, designing Meghan Markle's wedding dress, estimated to cost $265,000 and paid for by the former Suit star. Did you guys hear that? Paid for, and they made sure they highlighted that. Paid for by the former Suit star, entailed with 3,900 hours of design for the veil, 8 fittings, and 5 months of clandestine communication. It all started out in a way quite relaxed. Wade Keller says, we just talked a lot about her personal style. And you know what that is? Good, clean lines. Classic Hollywood and old Hollywood flair, providing reference points for the actor turned producer. She'd always, oh, I love that. The actor turned producer. They are giving Meghan her flowers for being in production now. She'd always loved Audrey Hepburn, Wade Keller says. The silver screen legend boat, what does they call it? A boat neck, boat top, yeah, boat neck wedding dress designed by Hubert de Givenchy. Yeah, Hubert Givenchy in 1957. Funny Face. Oh, I didn't know that. I'm going to have to check that out. Presents a through line to Marco's open neck, a small, round, neat shoulder, and a sculptural silhouette, all signatures of the French fashion house. So now you know. And of course, I'm going to let you go to Vanity Fair and do that article for yourself. Now, I'm going to jump ahead. I'm going to be very brave and jump ahead and try to show you something, but I have to make sure that I go back to it where I left off. So you guys remind me. So you see that? That is the something blue. You can barely see it, but do you see Meghan over there on the bottom left with the arrow? And you see the middle photo. Well, that is the something blue. That is the something blue. This is the something blue. I'm like, that's what she wore on her first date? Okay. Okay. Well, you know, if you want to make it a little more modest, you could always pull it up over the shoulder. But it's fun. It's fun for the summer. But that's what she wore on her first date. I don't know why I pictured her wearing like a cardigan or something. I don't know. I didn't picture anything as exposed as but okay, it wasn't the first time he had ever seen her. It was their first date. I remember she was speaking to a group of people. She was holding court, and Harry took a peek inside the room and said, "Oh, let me try to put on my A game." And then he turned and decided to tempt fate. And yeah, so I don't know why I was picturing her wearing something less revealing, but summer in the United Kingdom could be very hot, so I get it. And like I said, you could always cover your shoulders for a little extra modesty or something like that. But listen to me sounding so old fashioned. But you can see the gown. I think it was 2 layers of a silk material, like a crepe silk or something like that. They said, but I know they put the 2 layers together to make sure that it was had enough strength and foundation to hold its shape. And it is a beautiful gown, and it is something that just about the real cool part of it is any bride can wear that gown and look absolutely elegant. You don't need a lot of fuss or detail. I mean, you could always add details to it if you want to, but as you know, most of the detail was in the veil. It had it represented the flowers from all of the Commonwealth countries, and it took a long time to make it. But so yeah, it really came together, and it stands the test of time because since then there have been, I believe, I had an article one day that said that Meghan's gown was voted the number one amongst the royal brides. So, and yes, you guys, it is true that Princess Angela of Liechtenstein has a very, very similar gown. It's not, I mean, I love Princess Angela, but it wasn't as well fitted as this one. The shoulders on hers didn't have enough structure to it, I think. but still, it was very similar to this one. Um, but at least she managed to wear the family tiara without any fuss, unlike the Windsors. Ugh, those people. But yeah, so that's the story of the gown, is that there is a bit of fabric from Princess Meghan's first date with Harry sewn into the dress. And also, some of the squatties have been passing around a video where Meghan uh, goes to one of the rooms in, I guess it's Kensington Palace. And it was the first time that she had seen her dress since the wedding. And this had to have been maybe 2019, I think it was, or maybe 2018. But the thing is, the dress, as far as I know, is still over in Narnia. Now, that article says that she paid $266,000 for that gown. When's she gonna get her dress back? We wouldn't mind seeing it on display here in the United States, huh? When is she gonna get her dress back? That's what I want to know. Um, And of course, we didn't find out that Meghan paid for it. At least I didn't. They had everybody under this assumption, at least they tried to convince everyone that Charles had to pay for her clothes, like Joseph P. Kennedy had to pay for Jackie O's wardrobe. So we're supposed to picture Charles like Joseph P. Kennedy having to foot the bill for Meghan's wardrobe or else. But no, that wasn't the case. Meghan used her relationship with some of the designers that she has known over the years to come out with some fashions that were very conservative, very appropriate for a duchess, but yet quite stylish in the most unflashy way possible. She wasn't doing too much bling or too much flash. It's just everything always seemed to go right. So, um, well, Kim Coates is asking about the Spencer family tiara. Well, that does belong to Charles Spencer, and I would love to see Meghan wearing the Spencer family tiara. Um, Unfortunately, because of where they are right now and the way things are going for them, they won't likely go to any of those functions where it would be required. And I doubt if Meghan would want to ever wear a tiara again. I really do doubt that. Unless Harry purchases one for his wife, I don't suppose that that's going to happen. And I thought about that. Wouldn't it be nice if Harry purchased the tiara for her for some of their outings or whatever? But they haven't really been to any of those functions where it's even been needed up until this point. So hopefully, one of these days, the only place I could ever imagine Meghan wearing a tiara, it would be here. And then again, if it was here, she might not want to bother with it at all. So, and I remember before the wedding, there was some speculation that she may not wear a tiara at all because, that's not really her thing. She doesn't like a lot of conspicuous, flashy stuff like that. So, you know, but she was trying to be very traditional for the wedding, um, and not bucking the system, being a royal bride. And of course, the sad thing is, um, the tabloid media with their, you know, vendetta and their hostility for anyone who is not born of the blood, not to mention racist, but they would make a mockery of it. Like, I know some of you guys watched the well child video I posted where Harry broke down when he was talking about, um, their first child being born. And I could still, in my mind's eye, see the very smug reaction from the tabloid media. They were very insulting remarks that were made, as though, um anyway, I even hate to think about it, but that's their job, is to mock everything, is to make everything out to be part of some vast conspiracy from the left wing, and from the, what is it they say, woke now. Everything is a conspiracy. Everything is some type of dig at the royal family. Um, and everybody knows if there's any digging going on toward the royal family, they're the only ones entitled to do it. And of course, me. Um, but yeah, so that seems to be the way they operate. VS speaks royally. A royal family made money on that gown. Um, yes, they did. SOBs, when they paid for it, now making money off of it. Yeah, they I believe it was on display at the Kensington Palace. And you guys, when I went to Kensington Palace, I have to tell you, it was so morbid and so sad being there. And this was 2018, before I knew anything about what the Sussexes were going through. I went there, I believe it was like a week or two after the wedding, and I saw Diana's clothes on display, and it made me really sad. I loved being close to Diana like that, but I was very sad that her clothes were being held captive inside of those cases and put on display. I hated that. And I did not have a good feeling in Kensington Palace, not knowing anything about what the Sussexes had gone through. It's a very depressing place. It's like visiting a morgue. It's like visiting I'm going to say, a mausoleum. It's like going to like some big mausoleum and just walking around crypts. You don't have a good feeling at that place. It's dark. Um, and it's just not, it's nothing homey about that place. Now I'm sure the royal apartments have their, you know, things that their attributes that are positive, or I guess that will energize you. But as for the public spaces, very morbid. And I didn't feel good until I went out to the garden and I saw the sunken garden, and I saw the area where Harry and Meghan stood when they made their announcement. Then I felt better. And of course, I was outside in the sunlight. So, and it was a beautiful day. If there was any day to be there, that was it. It was a beautiful day. But other than that, Kensington Palace is depressing. It almost feels like Diana is just stuck there. That's what it feels like. Um, and I don't know if Queen Victoria ever went back to Kensington Palace, but if you remember, she was held hostage there with that so-called Kensington system. So I could imagine Balmoral is probably much the same. Windsor Castle, I cannot even recall the inside of Windsor Castle. I went through it. I know I saw it. I know I was in certain spaces, but I have no recall about being in those spaces, which is unusual for me, someone who loves architecture and all of those details. I have little or no recollection about Windsor Castle. I can remember more of St. George's Chapel than I can Windsor Castle. And I guess too, I just felt like weight being pushed down on me by it. And I never could understand what I was feeling at Kensington Palace, but I just knew I felt bad. I felt really bad. and I was glad to leave. Um, and it was nothing. Some of the like country manor houses I've been to, like Downton Abbey or something like that, they were more interesting than Kensington Palace. Kensington Palace is boring. Is a big fat nothing burger. The only thing that's interesting is to say, "Oh yeah, I've been there," and other than that, um, there's not much to it. You certainly won't enjoy seeing Princess Diana's clothes being held captive. And the lighting on the clothes, like the Versace gown, it looked dull. It looked dull. They don't, I'm sure the light is to protect the garment, but it looked awful. It looked awful. So I just tell you, if it's something that you've wanted to see, by all means see it, but it's morbid. Let's see here. Let me scroll. Okay. Well, you guys are having a nice conversation with each other. I hate to interrupt. Uh, wow. I haven't moved this in a while. There's a lot of, okay. Okay. Miss S says Meghan don't seem to have any interest in wearing tiaras. Heck, she did not even like people bowing to her. Meghan is a simple, down to earth person. That is very true, Miss S. That is very true. So I couldn't see her making a big fuss about that. Meghan will do what is required. Um, and so, as a duchess, she did what was required, and she did not embarrass the family in any way as a duchess, or even today, away from royal duty. Um, all of the stuff that they are so hostile to her about, Harry is the one that is telling everything. Meghan, Meghan is not the one that's like putting the family straight. And that just goes to show wisdom, because while she has mentioned her experiences, um, it's really not your place to put your spouse's family down, especially when everybody knows them. You know what I'm saying? It'd be like if Harry was running Meghan's family down. I don't think they're that kind of a couple. Like she said, that's your brother. You know how your family is. I don't need to add anything else to it. And that's very wise. That's very wise, because even though you may be right and justified to say certain things, you also don't want to push a button that that is really for their family to push. You don't want to be the one to do that. It's not wise. And it's just like, even though I have my criticisms about the Tories and about certain things, I still remember that the majority of the people are not involved with bashing the Sussexes. It only seems that way because of the tabloid media. And I don't expect people trying to heat their homes or pay their rent to run around rallying for the Sussexes when they're just trying to survive. I couldn't expect them to take that responsibility. I'm sure Harry and Meghan doesn't expect anyone to take that responsibility. It's just a matter of, we have committed ourselves in our various ways to deal with certain things. And there's a lot of people that are not from the UK, that are not from the English speaking world, if you will, not from one of the Commonwealth countries or a former colony. There's a lot of people that still have taken an interest in um, being very protective of the Sussexes because of various reasons, because some of their story is our story. Some of their story is someone else's experience. And so, for whatever reason, I think my biggest thing was being there on the wedding day and going through this like 6 months course of all things Harry and Meghan. And I was just expecting to come out of the other side of the wedding and having that same like joy of seeing Princess Diana representing the downtrodden and the those who can't speak up for themselves, being a voice and being a inspiration. I was expecting that. That was all I was expecting, only to find out that this so-called royal Rhoda was making life very difficult for them. And then, if that's not enough, then to find out that the institution, that his own brother and his father and that old discarded teabag stepmother of his, that all of those people, amongst others, and even Meghan's family, that they were all like trying to dismantle their happiness, trying to destroy them. And then my only reaction was, I hate a bully. And so that's where my investment came from. I was invested in defending them. And it's only because there's a community of like-minded people that that we found a space, a safe space at that, where we can share our thoughts. Because with a lot of like everyday people, they're like, who? Oh, I thought Charles was her husband. That's her son. You know, that's the way most people saw it. They didn't even know anything about Philip. They thought Charles was the Queen's husband. Uh, so they couldn't even look at photos and identify any of those people, except for maybe Charles and Harry and the Queen, maybe Kate, sometimes William. But other than that, they didn't really know those people. There's a lot of people that would look at me like, well, why do you care? I'm like, what? Don't you? Sure, everyone should. So again, the something blue is, oh my goodness, what have I been talking about for an hour and I'm only on slide number 8? Okay, you guys, I need to step it up. I thought I would be over here in like an hour. Wait, I got to go back, don't I? I got to go back because I skipped some things because it's out of order. So this right here, Prince Harry to attend UK charity award ceremony. Well, if you take a look at the left side of the screen, one of the squatties says, I would love to be as irrelevant as Harry is. So I didn't put the caption up there, but that's what it said. And justifiably so. That is a very good observation. We should all be as irrelevant as Harry, that we just take a simple trip to a charity function, and what happens? Lottie Dottie and everybody is talking about it. Every news agency, everybody's talking about Harry's on his way back to the UK. And then when we thought that was pretty typical and not even surprising, then when they announced when Meghan was going to make her trip over there, that was a whole nother news cycle of all Sussex all the time. So for two people that are so irrelevant, they can't stop talking about them. Helen Cole says Meghan's father stated in an interview that the staff from William paid him to help stop the marriage. I saw that, and then they took it off the television. They tried to remove it, but of course, the Sussex Squad Detective Agency, we saved those receipts. I think just about, I'm going to say probably half of the squaddies saved that. Now, the Australian television station, I think they offered some apology or something like that, because there was some mention of litigation over the allegations, and it is alleged, made by Thomas Markle Sr., but we all know what he meant. We all know what he meant. They were trying to get Meghan to get on a plane and go to Rosarita, Mexico, and deal with her father. And meanwhile, well, we'll have to call off the wedding for now. And that just goes to show you how sinister those people are, that they could put forth this pretense of being so helpful with the marriage and so excited for Harry and Meghan. And this is his family now. They're all excited. Wouldn't miss it for the world when behind all of that was an undercurrent of plotting and scheming to make sure that Meghan couldn't even be there because, after all, her father can't walk her down the aisle, and she's not here anyway because she has to go see after him because he just had some medical episode. And what did Meghan do? Oh, well, he'll be all right. Yeah, he'll be all right. I'll write him a letter. He'll be all right. It did not go the way they planned. They thought they had it all figured out, allegedly, that Meghan was going to hop on the plane like a dutiful daughter and go and see about her dad. They should have known the character of her father and what type of response that may have come from his so-called medical episode. It just didn't go the way they thought it would. And I cannot tell you how much pleasure I get out of the fact that I have to give it to them. That was a clever scheme. That was a nice little plot that they hatched to try to get her out the country. But after I didn't spend $266,000 on this gown, I don't care if it's from the Admirals Club at American Airlines. We are getting married. Okay? Okay. I wouldn't care if it was on the freeway on the way there. We are getting married. I just spent $266,000. He'll be all right. So thank you so much, Helen Cole, for your super chat. And thank you for being here. You have a follow up? I have a copy. I do too. That's my diabolical laugh. That's my diabolical laugh. That's my mad scientist, evil genius laugh. Yeah, you have to try to take it up, and it's a little louder and a little higher every time. It's that's the way you do it. And also, it's fun to rub your hands together. That helps to convey how clever you are. So thank you so much, Helen Cole, again for the super chat. Yeah, but you got to stay ahead of them, though. But they thought they had it all figured out. See, they were dealing with someone, and this is not Meghan's words, this is my words. They were dealing with someone who was not an honest broker when they were dealing with Thomas Markle Sr. And whatever eroded their relationship, it is something that is between father and daughter and mother and daughter and wife, ex-wife and ex-husband. Whatever happened, not even counting the rest of that Markle family, it is between those three people. And I think it could have been something so horrendous. It could have been something to do with her mother. We don't know. But whatever it was, that these so-called royal experts and these royal rodents and all of these gossip mongers to say what she should and should not do and how she should and should not feel. And after all, that's her father. Well, I'm sure a lot of them are going through a similar thing that is not playing out publicly. But you have to take care of yourself first. And if you can't take care of yourself, you can't help anybody. It was in the cards. It was fate. It was destiny for those two people to be together and for them to have a family together. And it would be really too bad and unfortunate if their plan to do what they were trying to do would have worked. But Meghan had been on her own for so long. She moved to Toronto. She didn't move up there with her mama. She moved to Toronto. The two women are very independent. Doria has her independence. Meghan has her independence, and they can function like that. They can be together. They can be apart, and know that they both have strength of character to deal with whatever comes along. And so it's not like she was living with her dad for the past 20 years or whatever. She's been away for so long, and whatever happened in that time, that's between them. So I know it makes money for the tabloid media to try to paint her with this brush that she is somehow not a good daughter. And some people like to quote the Bible and stuff like that. Well, I'm just going to quote common sense. Do you, boo? Take care of yourself first. Take care of yourself first. It was time for her to get married. It was time for Harry to get married. They both waited until it was right, until it was special, until they found a partner that shared their vision, their values, and they have made a tremendous life for themselves away from both families. So if people want to pretend like the Markles are the what do you call it? Are the Huxtables? If they want to pretend like the Markles are the Huxtables, that Claire and Heathcliff are coming in from their doctor and lawyer jobs every day, or if they want to pretend like the royal family is, some rom com where everybody really loves each other and there's just that one ex girlfriend that has trouble with the. No, it's not that. These are some malicious, awful, cruel, mean spirited people that spend their time briefing against one another, communicating through staff members and such. They're not a real family. I'm sorry, they're just not. The only close relationship Harry had was with his mother and with his grandmother. Make of that what you will. But that was it. But as for the rest of them, his cousins, one of his cousins anyway, he seemed to be closer to it. And then what about the rest? There's no images of him hanging out with Peter Phillips or Zara and all those people. You don't see it. Even the two cousins, I always forget their names, but he seemed to be closer to one than the other. And then after that, it just drops off. I don't know that he was close to anybody. And the queen, I don't know, I can't speculate. I know Harry had strong respect for her. And a lot of that, I think, was conditioned into him from birth. But aside from that, but then we don't know what his relationship was like with his grandmother. It may have been everything that he said it was. And he may have very well have been her favorite, right? Her favorite grandchild. And there might be some good reasons why he feels strongly toward her as he does. And maybe he was her chance to redeem herself from whatever she was lacking with Charles. You can't know. Maybe she realized William's going to be institution. I can't deal with him. Plus, I don't like his personality. But Harry, I like Harry. I can work with him. She trusted him. He trusted her. Make of it what you will. Bessie Knox says, Charles, I wish I was a Tampax in his own word. I would love to change that Oscar Mayer Wiener song for Charles, but I'm not going to do that because they may be one of the people that sponsor this moment. So, oh, I wish I was a. Oh God, Camilla, I wish I was a. No, I'm not going to do it. But I won't do one of my remixes with that one. But it would be fun. But thank you so much, Bessie Knox. Oh, wait a minute. My feminine hygiene protection product has a first name. It's Tampax. My feminine hygiene product has a second name. Ah! I can't. I can't. I'm not going to do it. Oh, I like to be one every day. So if you ask me why, I say, Ooh, no, I can't do it. I can't do it. Hold on a second, you all. But no, I'm not gonna do it. Um, that's even that's even beneath me. Okay. All right. I'm back. Oh man. Well, Bessie Knox, I hope you're proud of yourself. You see what you've just started. Thank you so much for your super chat. Um, yes, yes, everyone should have one, I think. Uh, oh my goodness, I'm so far behind with the comments, so I'm just going to scroll through. Let me see here. Some songs are not meant to be remixed. Okay, so right here, this is. Oh, I have a sound bite to play for you guys. Um, you know, they don't even try, y'all. They don't even try. And when I say they don't even try, I'll show you what I mean when I say they don't even try. Now, there is an occasion coming up that is going to benefit a lot of people that have been wounded mentally, physically, or both. And, this should be one of those moments where you lay down your swords and your shields and you come together as a community to celebrate the people that have worked so hard to go to the Invictus Games. So it says right there, the Duchess of Sussex has confirmed that she will join her husband, Prince Harry, at the Invictus Games in Dusseldorf next month. And oh, you know what, guys? I have a pet peeve, and I got to say this. I, I mess up day after day, but every time I hear somebody say Dusseldorf, I almost fall out the chair. I've heard a couple of people say Dusseldorf. It's Dusseldorf, Dusseldorf, not Dusseldorf. Dusseldorf is Dusseldorf. Anyway, I know I'm one to talk, but that one right, Dusseldorf. I'm just like, where are you getting Dusseldorf from? It's Dusseldorf. Anyway, the UK team made up of veterans and serving personnel from the Army, Navy, and Royal Air Force are training together before flying out to Germany. Dusseldorf, Germany. Oh God. Anyway, and watch and see what happens. Since I'm so busy trying to correct everybody, watch and see if I'm not the first one to do it wrong. Okay, so here goes. I want you to hear this. Oh wait. Uh-oh.
Afghanistan, a suicide bomber came into your tank.
So how are the final preparations for the games going?
Well, we've got this amazing training facility here at the university. We just don't have any athletes at the moment. That's because I'm not allowed to use this particular equipment this morning. We do have some over here, though. Take a look. Some of Team UK already sort of training on the ergos. That's the rowing machines here this morning. And this is the training base, basically, before they all fly out for the games, which begins in 2 weeks' time. Prince Harry set it up back in 2014, remember, for wounded, injured and sick army veterans from around the world, men and women. And let's talk to Dave Curtis, shall we, this morning? You all right? Yeah. A lot of attention on Prince Harry and the fact that Meghan Markle are going to be attending this year as well. Does that kind of slightly annoy you that they get all the attention?
No, because they are obviously, big, media people in the world, I suppose, now. But, come 2 weeks' time, all the attention's going to be on us.
Well, you were sort of injured, weren't you, back in 2009 in Afghanistan?
Yeah,
a suicide bomber came into your tank. That's obviously had a big impact on your life. What's it mean then to be into the games?
Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing. For so many years, I wanted to, take part in it. And then getting to that sort of point where, put my name down on the dotted line again and signed up to take part has been amazing. And obviously, we're all on a journey, as I am myself. But I suppose it's sort of just keeping in our mind the why we're taking part and why we're doing it and what we're looking forward to after the games.
All right, okay, real smart one today, because you're not actually doing any of the training, are you? It's a very gentle row. You can see these competitors are doing this one. I think we need to work them a little bit harder within the next hour or so.
Thanks very much indeed,
Come on,
Jonathan.
guys, step it up.
I cannot stand this guy. I cannot stand him. So the guy in the dark shirt, he had one job: just go there and interview them. But instead, first he has to insult the Sussexes by asking him, does it bother you that they're going to get all the attention? And here's to the guy with the red shirt. Cheers for him actually deflecting that stupid comment or stupid question by saying, they're public figures and media people, but when the games start, the attention is going to be on us. That is insulting that he asked that question. Just stop trying to be the life of the party. Stop trying to carry the water for the establishment. These people deserve better than that. At least they're flying to Düsseldorf. Last time, I think the athletes went on a bus. So, just stick to the situation at hand instead of trying to take digs at Harry and Meghan. Harry used the weight of his personality, his gift from God, his character, not just his title, but his character. Harry can be very persuasive and convincing when it comes to things that he's passionate about. And he used that talent. He used his observation. I was terrified for Harry last time, not for his security, but I just felt like he had too much to do. And the whole time, from the safety of my chair, I wasn't there, but I'm looking at him jumping off of golf carts, running up and greeting everybody. It was like he was running for governor. That is a tremendous weight to carry, and he did it flawlessly. So for this guy in this dark polo shirt to say something like that, I was just like, you know what? Y'all could have just stuck to that, and it would have been. And I only watched it because I wanted to see if they would have a moment of humanity. Well, they did not. They had to go to the darkness, and well, you heard what he said. Does it bother you that they're going to get all the attention? This man just told you, I have been waiting years to participate in this, and that's the way you start a conversation. Jacqueline Squash, the official chaplain of Royal Sussex, says, "Hello, family. We know the Royal UK Rhoda, uh, the Great Pretender, but was done in the dark. God Almighty reveals it through His light." Thank you so much, Jacqueline, for that good thought for the day. Greatly appreciated. And thank you as always for being here. B. Martim says he needs to be asking why they can't use the facilities. Let me see. I just I don't know what that means. Can't use the facilities in something. Okay, but thank you, B. Martim. I'm so sorry I didn't understand the IJS, but thank you very much for the super chat. But yeah, either way, he shouldn't have been asking questions like that. That was just reckless and irresponsible, and I could never forgive him for that. Big Mama says, "I wonder would they explode or something if they don't try to insult." Megan, exactly. It seems like when they sign their contracts or when they take their instructions for the day, don't forget to say something disparaging about the Duchess of Sussex. Oh, yeah. Yeah, right. Denise Pelou says, I am happy the UK is sending a team to the Invictus Games because Boris Johnson had planned to cease sending teams to that game. Oh, did he? I had no idea. Although, if he would have tried that, it would have he would have faced a backlash from the military itself, because there's a lot of people in the military that are depending on the Wounded Warriors and the Invictus Games to help rehabilitate, in some cases, some of the veterans. Because how many times have someone told either Harry or someone else that these games saved my life? And I remember, I think it was a woman veteran. I could almost hear her voice now, but I remember she said that she was headed toward deletion, and for whatever reason, it was there. She heard about the Invictus Games and knew that it was where she needed to be. And her story is a lot of other people's story. And so, with everything that is riding on the success of this, you got this wannabe stand-up comic making jokes and snide remarks about the Sussexes. Turn it off. Just turn it off. Bessie Knox says, people forget that the royal family was almost dethroned in 1997 over the way they acted after the People's Princess passed away in that tunnel. Yeah, when she died tragically and mysteriously in the tunnel in Paris. Yeah, they were on the brink at that point. They were on the brink. And they don't learn anything. They don't learn. They assume that what has always been will always be. After all, this institution is 1,000 years old. It's the people that support you are the ones that will take you out. They will snatch you down off of your ivory tower. Those are the ones that get you. It's not the enemy outside. It's the people that have been your biggest supporters are the ones that will drag you down to the ground. And I don't care how long something has been around. There are civilizations that never knew what the information age was. There was no information age. Their information age was parchment paper and ink blots. That was their information age. But now, a whisper about anything can travel around the world, within a blink of the eye and can be trending by half of humanity within a day. And so to assume that you got another 1,000 years ahead of you, especially for something that doesn't make a lot of sense in modern times, feudalism, aristocracy, in an age of, hard work, entrepreneurism, and, the information age, and of course, meritocracy. How does that fit? How is one consistent with the other? Can they exist in the same universe? We'll see. We'll find out. Thank you so much, Bessie Knox. So this is the metals. I showed you some photos a couple of days ago, but this is even better than that because you can see more up close. You can see the squiggly line, which represents the Rhine River, the River Rhine. And of course, I am the captain of my, what is that, destination, the captain of my something. Helen Cole says they are attempting to do the same to Harry. The royal dole William will not stop until another royal family death. And even when that happens, it is not going to have much impact on the way he lives. He is so programmed. He is so programmed into that world that he's full of a self-righteous inevitability of being a king someday. And he's going to find out that he wasn't prepared, because I don't think he figured it out yet, even though he had that big blunder with the Caribbean tour, right? His big blunder for this year was the World Cup. Last year, it was the Caribbean tour. Every year, William is going to have something. He'll have a few micro events, and then he'll have that one big event that is going to expose him for the shy, angry, and dare I say, closet case that he is. I think maybe that's where a lot of that anger comes from, is that he's not able to be who he really wants to be. And he's not the first, he's not the last family member who is unable to live their true selves. But something is eating him up. Whenever you see a man that's that angry, constantly, so snarky, and I will never forget when this one body language expert, before he started drinking the Kool-Aid, and I'm not talking about the one that everybody is familiar with, it's another one. Before he started drinking the Kool-Aid, before he realized that he could actually build a house with his earnings, he actually was more balanced about things. But then he went to the dark side, big time. Again, I'm sure it's not the one you're thinking about. However, his assessment of William at the time, as a matter of fact, this isn't a body language person. This is one that does public speaking. He evaluates public speaking. And he looked at William and saw that there was a character flaw in him that was so glaringly obvious. So glaring. As a matter of fact, let me do this, and I'm not going to say one way or the other. I'll let you see it for yourself. If you got it, you got it. If you don't, you don't.
Obviously, it'd be. I would love to have met her, and she's obviously she's an inspirational woman to look up to. Obviously, to this day, and going forward and things. It is, it's a wonderful family. The members who I've met have achieved a lot, and very inspirational. So yeah, I do.
So William's blinking and his rather annoyed look exposed a little bit more of him that that we all have seen and we tend to ignore, but it's there. It's there. It's the reason why he has surrounded himself with the people that he surrounded himself with. It's the reason why he went all the way to Poland for a pulled pork sandwich. There's a lot going on there, and who knows? Maybe one day it'll all come out, and I don't think people are going to think any less of him. It's 2023, but I think that if he could possibly do something other than wait for his father to die, I think if he could do something like that, he'd probably be a nicer person. He probably will have a weight lifted off of him to the likes of which would probably shock people. But he has a lot on him. Number one, his character is all whack. He is by nature a cruel individual. But aside from that, he's not happy. He's not happy. And he pretends, because if he ever lets go of his grudge against humanity, his grudge against his brother, his grudge against his father, and against his sister-in-law, if he ever lets go of that, then he would probably just he'd probably end up institutionalized somewhere if he ever let go of that, because he's holding so much in that he would probably have a horrendous mental break somewhere. And then after much counseling and such, maybe he might be a decent person, but he's holding a lot back. And whenever he lets it go, oh boy, it'd be like somebody's testing a new weapon system. It will get ugly if he ever releases whatever he's got pent up. But he's blaming other people because he's miserable. And Harry is living his best life. Harry is talented. Harry is loved. Harry is everything he is not. And it is destroying him. I promise you, the only thing that William believes is his job one day after the next is to try to prove that he's better than Harry. That's his job. That is what he does. Everything is to prove that he's better than Harry. That's why he didn't want Harry to marry. That's why he didn't want Harry to have a family. He did not want Harry to be successful because he has to be better than Harry. Because no matter what else is going on, because being king, that's easy. All you got to do is show up. But to be loved and respected like Harry, and then after Harry told the truth about him crashing through the window like some type of a special agent or something like that, smashing through plate glass windows and rolling across the floor and jumping up on 2 feet and bristling and snorting through his nose and charging at him like a wild boar. After all of that truth that Harry told, nobody is ever going to see him the same way again. And he knows that. So people already knew that he had a problem, but Harry actually made it official. But Harry had to do that. Harry said, we stayed quiet for 12 months. We were quiet for a year and didn't say a word, and yet they kept briefing against us. So what kind of man would Harry be if he didn't defend his family? He did what he was supposed to do. So thank you, Helen Cole. And again, thank you so much for the super chat. Let me see. Rachel, what is it? Murawa? Baron, could you please cover Chucky's upcoming visit to Kenya as the first Commonwealth country. You'll be surprised by what you find out. I didn't know he was going. Are you serious? When did that come out? Was that today? Okay, don't worry. We'll cover it tomorrow. I am so sorry. I wasn't aware of that. He's going to Kenya? Oh, boy. That should be interesting. Thank you so much. I had no idea. But thank you. And thank you for the super chat. Yes, I'm going to look into that. I'm so sorry. I'm going to have to skip through most of these in the chat. But super sticker. Thank you, B. Martin. Sorry, Baron. It means I'm just saying. Oh, I'm so sorry. Normally, I know that. But sometimes when I'm talking and doing everything with the live, I lose track. But thank you so much for that. Greatly appreciate it. I'm just saying because the guy mentioned they can't use the facility to start. To start his rant. Exactly. Oh, that guy was awful. He must be a delight to be around. You know what I mean? Oh, is he awful? Such negative aura around him. The guy with the dark polo shirt on. Oh, I would hate to be stuck in the elevator with him. Let me see here. Big Mama says, oh, thank you, B. Martin. You know what? One more time. You know what's eating him up, Baron? He wants Harry's life. Chuck is the only one that really wants to be king. Yeah, that's true, Big Mama. I don't think William wants to be king. I think it's just inevitable. Yeah, you're right. I think it's just inevitable. And William is catching a plane. He's very impatient, like he has a plane to catch. He is very irresponsible. He was late on Coronation Day. He did not go to not one of the girls' events, but two of them. He had to make a video to apologize because he had no intention of going. He is reckless and irresponsible and his own worst enemy. And because of his lack of knowledge and lack of intelligence, because he knows so little about the world in which he is going to inherit a nation, a commonwealth, all of that stuff. He knows so little about people. He knows so little about places. He has a complete lack of intellectual curiosity, and that will be his undoing. He doesn't know, and he doesn't care, and he doesn't care that he doesn't know. And then, of course, if he had, let's say, I'm not a fan of hers, but if he had a Nancy Reagan, somebody who could help him develop. If he had, let me see, I have to mention somebody who doesn't have a husband that's all that bright. Like you couldn't say Hillary because Bill is pretty bright. You couldn't say a lot of people because they're like a power couple. But neither one of them have personality, wit, charm, none of that stuff. Kate is only good as her smile, and William, people respect him because they're obliged to do it. There's no warmth, there's no connection, none of that. Nothing. I mean, it's just a big empty void. And rather than picking on the Sussexes, they should literally be kissing their feet and begging them to come back. But instead, if we keep attacking Harry and Meghan, then people won't notice how awful these other two are. 2011, NBC called it. When NBC said, we're cutting back on our coverage of William and Kate because they are so flipping dull, that was a premonition right there. Then they come to the United States. They take the show on the road. It didn't get much better. All we saw was them costume playing, their little cosplay, And then, of course, Kate shrinking away from the big, scary black man who has more money in his checking account than his parents ever pretended to have made in their entire lives. And she's shrinking away from him like she's some type of fragile, delicate flower. That was embarrassing. Ugh. Like I said, you guys, it's not so much that I care about seeing them like destroyed or anything like that. No, I don't have any hate for anybody in their family, but the confirmation that that we were right, the acknowledgement that we were right, and that they are really just riding on Harry and Meghan's coattails, hoping that some of that stardust, some of that magic will wear off on them. But it doesn't. It doesn't. That they're dull. They're them honest. They are honestly dull. I'll just say that they're dull, and everybody knows it. Big problem. Diane Hawkins says, I pray that the evil Billy is sending toward the Sussexes boomerang back. Oh, that the evil that he's sending them boomerangs back to his own front door. And it will. It will. I almost feel sorry for him because I look at William and I still see the little boy that lost his mother. But I look at the grown adult William and I know there's a world of hurt there. But I can't think about that as much when I see him doing so much to hurt other people. I mean, he targeted him and his staff. If William would have been constructive with Meghan, if he would, I'm not saying he had to like her, but if he would have been more constructive, if he would have been more professional, if he would have just been a family member that ain't so crazy about somebody, but, you know, it's still family. You know what I'm saying? If he would have just played the family role, try not to offend his brother and all that kind of stuff, none of this would have happened. But those people on staff at Kensington Palace, they followed his lead, just like Charles with his mother's staff, his mother's household, they followed his lead. William's kingdom was Kensington Palace. He was the senior most royal there. And everybody in some way, form, or fashion was beneath him. The staff, his relatives, and certainly his brother, all of them were beneath him. And so if he puts out that mentality, then everybody else is going to adopt the same. If he would have been more of a man about it, then everybody would have acted the same. But because he took the low road, he gave license to everyone else, including relatives, to go after Meghan. And not only him, of course, Charles and Camilla. But as for that household, Kensington Palace should have been a sanctuary for Harry and Meghan, instead of this gauntlet of hate and intrigue. It should have been a sanctuary. I mean, after all, you watched your mother go through the same thing. And now you're the bad guy. It seems like he would have known better. It seemed like he would have done better, but instead, he let bitterness and jealousy rob him of his own brother. He literally ran them out of Kensington Palace and eventually out of the country. He did that. They had to flee the United Kingdom. William, Kate, Charles, Camilla, the tabloid media, and of course, the men in gray suits, they drove them out the country, which is a dumb thing to do when you go to bed and wake up, high-fiving each other, doing your victory lap, and then you realize, oh, we still got them. Oh, yeah. Well, this is what they're stuck with. And not just that, the other part of it is these two. They look like Raggedy Ann and Andy dolls. No human form should look like that. They look like a couple of Raggedy Andy and Raggedy Ann dolls. And that is the future of the monarchy until those kids have kids of their own, until those kids are married, until those kids are at the very least able to go out and do some type of royal duty. That's their future. Oh, how bleak does it look? But that is what they asked for. That is what they asked for. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Okay. I had that one over. Okay. B. Martin says, sorry, Baron. Oh, I saw that one too, right? It means just saying you can't use. Oh, yeah. Okay. Thank you again in case I didn't do that. Oh, yeah. I see what I did. I went in the wrong direction. Sorry about that. Let me scroll. Wow. I missed a whole lot. Oh, man. Okay. YM Droid says, Will and Kate have done for empty gates and crickets. What that man in Alabama did for folding chairs. They're bland milk toast heroes. Oh man. Yeah, the empty gate. You're talking about the ones restraining the crowd that there was no crowd to restrain, right? Oh, thank you, YM Droid. But yeah, that is so true. That is so true. Thank you for the super chat. And Joyce Yvette Davis, thank you for the super sticker. Okay, and all right, this is all the way at the end. They lost the crown jewel, Harry and Meghan. Now they have duds. Right, they need to drop those turkey dinners and go get themselves some winners, but they ran the winners out of the country. And see, Gail Tapscott super sticker, thank you very much. Okay, let's get moving here because I'm so far behind. So we did that. Crowdfunding site used by Wooten has ties to shadowy think tank. Well, this think tank sounds a lot like the Heritage Foundation, although is a little more, shall we say, shadowy. It's deeper in the shadows. It seems to reside more in the darkness. So the bylines shared this Democracy 3.0 crowdfunder site used by Dan Wooten has ties to shadowy think tank Open Democracy. So that's the name of the think tank, is Open Democracy. Our investigation found Hawkins is linked through other company to key Christian rights figures, as well as a number of think tanks, most notably the pro-Brexit Legatum Institute, part of the Something Legatum group network, which recently helped fund GB News, and then GB News to the tune of £60 million. Ooh, well, they're flush with cash, aren't they? And then skipping down to another paragraph, it says GB News presenter and Daily Mail journalist Dan Wooten is currently asking for donations on the site. And also, he's getting money from this site as well as his own GoFundMe, as is ex-Tory MP and Andrew Bridgen, who appeared on the channel after being kicked out of the Conservative Party after making comments comparing the pandemic treatment rollout to that thing right there that I don't want to say for the sake of monetization. But yeah, this seems like some very deep in the right wing type of people. And a lot of those evangelical groups can be very, very conservative. They also use a lot of lobbying, especially within their own states here in the United States. They lobby a lot of politicians and such. And the other thing is that some of those evangelical groups actually go over to Africa, they go to South America, they go to Asia, meddling in the politics over there. And in a lot of cases, they're trying to have leverage with policy making. They literally use that leverage to further extend this whole right wing movement, which is so dangerous. And in some cases, they have been very, very successful. And so a lot of countries that, have a Christian population, majority Christian, even if it's just a small amount of Christianity in some of those countries, those evangelicals, they are using their resources for a lot of leverage in the local politics. And it's all part of a much bigger plan. It usually has very little to do with those countries. It's more about the projection of the power of the conservatives around the world. So pretty scary stuff. And those, I'm not surprised, though, that those would be the people that Dan Wooten is leaning upon. There's a lot of LGBTQ people that have, crawled up in the bed with the right wing, and the right wing embraces them because they can reach sectors of the population that would otherwise be out of reach. So I remember that one guy that was working for the Republicans before the election. I forget his name, thank goodness. I don't even want to think about it. But the one with that peroxide blonde hair that used to go on Bill Maher and such. But they solicit help from some pretty clever people, people who know how to project the gaslighting and such. And Dan Wooten is good at that. Dan Wooten is good with the gaslighting, much better than most, because he does it in such an elegant way that anyone who is easily persuaded will accept what he says. And he's good for the conservatives because of his sexuality. It's like the ultimate weapon. It's just like using a Black person to try to affect policy. Candace Owens. Candace Owens is good because it's not that she so much persuade Black people as she gives more, I guess, credence to the right wing to make them look like they're more open and available for all humanity, as opposed to a bunch of very powerful, usually very white men that have the reins of power under their control. So he's getting their support and they are getting what he has to offer. So I'm not surprised. They always find those kind of people, and they're very useful. Very, very useful. Yeah, no wonder he's still on the air, right? Yeah. Yeah, Mama Jane, it seems as though he's protected. And then let us not forget that there's a lot of people within media that have done worse than Dan Wooten, and we just don't know about it. Um, but there's three people in 2023. There's three of them. The guy from BBC News, Schofield, and Dan Wooten. There's three of them, and it seems as though all three of them are going to get away with it. They're going to get away with it. There is a lot of that going on, and it is institutional. It is institutional. You know, guys, I'm going to tell you, sometimes when I should be watching Suits, I find myself watching a lot of old documentaries. And anyway, I watched Frank Reynolds. Remember Frank Reynolds, ABC News? He died in 1983. And someone uploaded the entire news hour that day. And one of the things they covered was the congressional page scandal. And that was the first time I learned that in these institutions that there is a lot of abuse that happens. The congressional page scandal, that was 1983. Now they censored the two congressmen. One was a Democrat and one was the Republican. One had a relationship with a female, the other one with a male. And I'm thinking, I'm so naive and so young. I'm just like, why would they do something like that? All of the responsibility that they have, they got to know people with. I had no idea that it was so deeply ingrained that it was baked into the cake called government. I had no idea. But that type of abuse, where there are rich and powerful men, there's always been that type of stuff happening. And so a lot of people have taken shelter from them. A lot of people are them. Now, I don't know how much money Woo Woo makes. I don't know how much money any of them make. But what he has been accused of, it's important to say he's only been accused. He's protected, and it's always been that way. So 1983 congressional page scandal, look it up and you'll see what I'm talking about. And that was just the tip of the iceberg. Those are just the ones that got caught. And so here's these kids. They're running around as a congressional page. They're doing all the footwork, getting coffee, grabbing documents and stuff like that for members of Congress. And their families are so proud of them because they're going to work at the United States Capitol for Congressman so-and-so. And all of this is going on right under everybody's nose, or in the wide open, and everybody knows it. And just, they're so used to it, it just didn't seem like a thing. It didn't start with Bill Clinton, and it certainly ain't going to end with Bill Clinton. But that just blew my mind. I'm just like, I remember that. And I didn't realize it was so long ago. It seems so current, but that was 1983. And then there's this Spain World Cup winning women footballers refused to play until FA president who kissed player quits. I didn't really take a close look at it before, and I just took a good look at it today. And like I said, in those very powerful positions, people with authority, so often they abuse that power. And well, I hope that the women receive exactly the outcome that they're hoping for. And if I'm correct, I believe they said that some of the men players have signed on to the idea of refusing to play until this wrong has been righted. Is that a word? Until this wrong has been made right? Well, until he's gone, okay? So that happened today. And that's all I'll say about that. Is too disturbing. Okay, how many times has President Trump played golf? Estimated number of times President played golf since his inauguration. 2017, 87 times. 2018, 67 times. 19, 84 times. 2020, well, he had to slow down because he was running for election. A total of 285, and it cost the American taxpayers $142 million. Now, the Secret Service were renting rooms at his places, his golf courses and resorts, and paying well above market rate for the privilege. Did you guys know the Secret Service pays the Trumps, the Obamas, the Clintons, and the Bushes? All of them are the Secret Service pay to lease space on their properties or adjacent to their properties 24 hours a day, 365 days of the year. They sometimes will build a hut or an office, or sometimes they will rent space. So I'm not just picking on Trump, but they all do that. The thing is, Trump owns the resort and charges well above what the Secret Service ought to be paying. But this is common when heads of state are involved. And as I said yesterday, former presidents still receive Secret Service protection, and their spouse. So that was the cost to the taxpayers in 4 years. And that's just the cost of going to play golf. When he would go to New York, an army of Secret Service agents would have to go and be there with him, or wherever else he went. So the taxpayers really got the shaft when it comes to this guy. They blew through the budget. And I'm not making this up. I remember when it happened. The budget that they used for the Obamas in 8 years, they blew through that budget within like the first year and a half of Trump. They blew through that budget. They had to go to Congress and ask for more money, because in a very short period of time, the Trump family blew through a fortune of taxpayers' money for their Secret Service protection. Well, I always knew he was a Karen. I always knew he was a Karen. Everybody is against him. The world is always after him. It's amazing how very powerful rich white men are the best ones to play victim. And they do. They're always the victim. And that is how they get away with so many things, is because they convince other people that the liberals are taking something from you. The Democrats are taking something from you. The migrants are taking something from you. So playing the victim and accusing Obama of being a foreign-born president, when of course he was born here. But I love the meme there on the right side. There was a million memes yesterday. And take a look here. Bye, Felicia. Bye. I've had that ever since Election Day. And then take a look at the newest member of the Shady Bunch, Trevian Cootie. Oh, that last name sounds weird. Uh, you know what? I don't know how a date would go if you went out with someone and their last name was Cootie. Like, oh, somebody's got the cooties. But yeah, I guess you could pretend like it says cutie instead of cooties. Cutie. Okay, that's better. Trevian Cutie. Okay, maybe she pronounces it that way. But yeah, she's joining the crew. I don't know who she is or how she got in trouble, but she's somehow tied into it. And then I saw this. I said, oh, how cute. This is silhouettes of various animals: elephant, deer, dolphin, bear, cat, fox, owl, wolf, and sloth. Well, when I saw sloth, instantly I thought of Donald Trump. But then again, I said, no, he's not a sloth. He's a Yeti. So I had to go back to the drawing board, and I had to edit the image and remind people what a Yeti he is. Some big mythical creature, larger than life, massive, lumbering, and all the footage of it, you see it and you think, is that a man or is that an animal, or is it like some type of hybrid between a bear and a man? Well, anyway, I changed it to Yeti. And of course, there's Hillary Clinton's reaction. Just think, all of the stuff that all of these people that were so much smarter than you and me was saying about Hillary Clinton. She's going to start a war. She's going to do this. She's going to do that. And what about her emails? And it's just as Kamala Harris said, Trump is a walking indictment in a red tie, that he was an indictment in waiting. And how right she was, because he has been indicted several times. And of course, you know, as they say, the proof is in the pudding. And so Hillary Clinton is definitely having the last laugh. Donald Trump, you know, and I tell you, I was really disappointed that Hillary didn't become president. But in a way, I'm kind of glad, because, well, you know how they do women. They would have never let up on her. And it would have been nonstop attacks from the right wing. And the strange thing about it is, I remember back in the day when Hillary Clinton and the right wing, they had a very cordial, respectful opinion of her. And all of that stopped with the universal health care. Do you guys know that? Hillary has been punished ever since universal health care. That is when it started. And I promise you guys, I've studied political science. I don't have a degree, but I studied it. And I have an amazing ability to recall certain things, certain history that I've lived through. And her troubles started with universal health care. And instead of blaming Bill Clinton, who was the president, they took it out on Hillary Clinton. Does that sound familiar? Does that sound familiar? Just like when you look at, let me see here. When you look at the Sussexes, Harry has told the truth. Harry has dropped most of the truth bombs. But who gets attacked? And they say, oh, no, it's not misogyny. It's just because she's an American. No, it's not her race. It's just because she's an American. I promise you guys, the very same thing happened with Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton ran for Senate. First, she was appointed to take over Moynihan's seat in New York State. And then, to prove that she was a serious politician, she ran for the Senate and won in her own right. She was very popular in New York, even conservative upstate New York. And the only reason why she didn't go any further than that, well, Obama, when he went to the Senate, he didn't let the grass grow under his feet. He quickly ran for president before they found anything worse to use against him. Hillary didn't have that luxury because she had never ran for public office in her own right. She had to run again to prove something. Well, you could throw that playbook out the window. Now a reality TV show person can be president. So if she would have tried to have run sooner, it probably wouldn't have worked out because of misogyny, because she's a woman, because of sexism. It still probably would have been an uphill battle. But it's just true that some things they will accept from a man that they will never, ever tolerate from women. And it's unfortunate because there's a lot of talent out there that never sees the light of day because of the treatment that so many women have received. And it really broke my heart. Hillary was the the most popular woman for like 20 years in whatever poll. And there was even one poll where she tied with Michelle Obama. Even after Michelle Obama was first lady, she tied with Michelle Obama. How do you go from being the most popular woman in America for over 20 years, and then somehow it's degraded into where Hillary Clinton is today? And again, I'm going to make that same connection. How did Meghan go from the darling of every place she's ever worked, from everything that she's ever done? How did she go from the darling in the room, the brightest, the most loving, the most intelligent, the most caring? How did she go from that to the impression that people have today? Can you see that connection? How does that happen? Hillary went from the most popular woman in America for 20 straight years. And then she wasn't. And Meghan, with all of the relations that she's built over the years, and then you have this hate campaign. And that's why I say so many times that I haven't seen any woman vetted more than Meghan has been vetted, because this is going on, 7, 8 years now? Hillary Clinton, I would say she's the only woman who's ever received more of the scrutiny than Meghan has. But what's worse for Meghan is that it's not the right wing press in the United States. It's the British tabloid media. And one of the biggest things that has ever been exported from the United Kingdom is racism. Nobody has done it quite the same way because it's so subversive. It leaves a lot of plausible deniability. Nobody has ever done it as efficiently. I would even wager you that it may have even been, with Jim Crow and lynching and all that kind of stuff. It's been 100 times worse here. But in terms of the non-violent racism, I don't know any place that's been more efficient. I cannot think of one. that ruling class and the media, in conjunction with the government and an empire, and so much of the hostility amongst the old colonies and the old Commonwealth countries, colonies, a lot of the racism and a lot of the the laws were influenced from the days of the British Empire. It carried over. It carried over. So I would say the biggest export besides the language has to be racism. So let me see here. Okay. Oh, by the way, you guys, I'm gonna finish up with Donald Trump. So if you guys need to get your sleep on, Elaine Parker, love you. Good night. If you guys need to get your sleep on, go ahead, because I'm going to finish up with Donald Trump. All 10 living ex-defense secretaries warned Trump not to involve the military in election fraud claims. And then I took that meme. I didn't make the meme, but I took it and I underlined ex-defense secretaries warned Trump. And I even added, this is not reality TV. Look on the right side at the date right there. I just found this today. I didn't even know that I had it. You see that? It says January 4th, 2021. And when was the insurrection? When was the insurrection? I actually saved this. I tweeted it, not tweeted it, but I shared it on Facebook. I wasn't really on Twitter at the time. But look at the date there. There was a reason why the military was put on notice, because there's a lot of brainwashed cult people from the MAGA movement within the United States military. And Donald Trump would have surely have used them if he thought it would make a difference. He was going to turn this successful experiment in democracy and turn it into a dictatorship. That is why he's in jail. And if you are a MAGA person and you're listening, you probably don't care because you have so suppressed any reason. But they put him on notice. They put them on notice. January 4th, that was at the top of the screen on my photos. And so I made sure that I took a screenshot at the very top. You can't see it on the left, but that is the date, January 4th. I'm not making that up. People knew. People knew. That's right, January 6th. People knew. They knew what was coming. 52 U.S. Code 2511. A person, including an election official, who in any election for federal office knowingly and willingly deprives, defraud, and attempts to deprive or defraud the residents of a state of a fair and impartially conducted election process by Part B there, the procurement, casting, or tabulation of ballots that are known by the person to be materially false, fictitious, or fraudulent under the law of the state in which the election is held shall be fined in accordance with Title 18 or imprisoned not more than 5 years or both. January 6th. January 6th. Donald Trump was trying to destroy the country. Do you understand what an impact it would have on the rest of the world if there was no confidence in the US dollar. If the dollar and the euro and the pound, one or all of those are disrupted, it would wreak havoc with the global economy. And Donald Trump did not care. He did not care. This is Congress. This is the Hall of Congress. January 6th, I'm watching them count the votes, and then all of a sudden, it was gone. And I was on the phone with my aunt. I'm just like, oh yeah, this is it. They're about to count. They're going to validate the votes. They're going to certify the election. And then all of a sudden, there was nothing. When I tell you that that was one of the worst days in my life, I think I probably cried for about 2 days at the idea of what that man almost cost us. That's Gerald Ford's statue. Gerald R. Ford, President of the United States. That's his statue. And there on the left side, you can see the MAGA people running. And of course, they gaslighting people saying that that was Antifa and all that kind of stuff. No, those were MAGA people. Those were your neighbors. Those were the clerks down at Walmart. Those were some very rich real estate people, every stripe. Here's a protester in the Capitol with a, hand something on his hip. Oh, I guess it says handgun. And on his hip, zip ties to take congressional hostages. Hundreds of people were talking about doing this openly in a pro-Trump online forum. They were also talking about that elected Democrat, Donald Trump is that. Just in case some of you all are not from the United States and you haven't seen these little details, I just want to share a few of them with you. And then Richard Barnett of Alaska broke into the House Speaker Pelosi's office, stole her mail, and then made it safely back out to brag about it. Do you think a Black American could get away with this? And what was so weird but refreshing, I cannot tell you how many times I've heard white people say, now see, if those were Black people, they would have riddled the place with bullets. So day one of Trump's time in office, you see it right there, day one. That's his inauguration. And day 1444, a few days before he actually left office, January the 6th. So look at the contrast between how it started and the way it ended. And this is something I thought I would never see. At least I hoped I wouldn't. But this is the United States Army literally sleeping on the stone-clad floors of the Capitol building because of Donald Trump. Patrolling the campus of the government, the legislative branch, because of Donald Trump. And of course, the guy who flew a Confederate flag in the Capitol has predictably surrendered. That's the rebel flag, the one that people say, oh, it's just about state pride. It's about state pride. It's Southern pride. That's all. It's Southern pride. Looks like racism to me. So, lastly, you guys, don't forget the Well Child Awards will be broadcast September 7th at 6:15 p.m. I don't know which time zone, but at 6:15 p.m. So if it is UK time, then that means we would see it here at 11 a.m., 11, 12 a.m., respectfully. Okay, yeah, so respectively, I mean. But yeah, so don't forget that that is coming. Thank you. I hope this is the right slide. Thank you, moderators, Church Nellie, Lydia Washington, Mo Shannon, Anastasia, Isabella, Cookies and Cream, Sherry Ware, Black Queen, Sean, Lucy Wynn, and of course, Elaine Parker. Thank you to the Mod Squad. And with that, you guys, I am done. So thank you for hearing me out at the end there with the Trump stuff. But it's just so important that people who don't know some of those small details, and I only covered a fraction of it, in case there's any like doubt, or if people think that they are over doing this, I would rather take the risk of another, I don't want to say that word, but if you remember the North and the South, when the South decided to recede, I would rather take the risk of all out losing everything than to let that monster get away with it. I'll take my chances. And I can't speak for everybody. It's probably not worth it. But the Scorpio in me says, do what you got to do. And I applaud the prosecutors, the district attorneys, state's attorneys. I applaud them for being courageous enough to do what has to be done, because that man almost cost us everything. Almost cost us everything. And even though this country has a lot to atone for, I love my country. I'm glad that I'm here. There's veterans in my family. There's law enforcement in my family. We're like just about every other family in America, every other African American family in America. And this is our country too. And I'm invested in seeing that things go right. But the idea that he almost cost us everything, and bear in mind, the rich people, they're always going to come out on top. They're always going to have food on the table. They're going to have shelter, while we could watch our currency take a nosedive, much like with Brexit. Look at how, what's her name? Liz Truss almost tanked out the British economy. All it takes is one person to do one stupid thing, and it can cost you everything. George Bush nearly destroyed the American economy. Barack Obama brought it back. But George Bush took a budget surplus, and the United States overnight went from the biggest lender in the world to the largest borrower in the world, all under one Republican president. Why people vote Republican, I don't know. I'm sure your conservative values may lead you in that direction. But when it comes to the economy, and I promise you, I'm not making it up, Donald Trump himself said the economy always does better with a Democrat. Always. And that so-called big economy he had, that was Obama's economy. He was riding Obama's coattails. If you look at the graph, the line just continued to go onward and upward in spite of Trump. And then Trump destroyed the economy again, only for it to be saved by a Democrat. So, all right, you guys, thank you so much. Love you guys. Thank you. And of course, we always honor our queens on the way out. Let me see here. And Cookies and Cream is going to close it out with, everyone, please don't forget to watch The Heart of Invictus on Netflix on August the 30th. Please tell as many people as possible. Please plaster the information on social media. Let's help it make it number one. Absolutely, cookies and cream. And thank you for those very, very wise words. Your guidance is not wasted. Thank you so much. All right. And so with that, I am going to cue the Ginger Avenger. Thank you for spending time, and I will see you all tomorrow. And remember, there are other content creators. Please support them. I should not be the first and the last voice that you listen to. You have to have the variety of opinions to really, get to the bottom of things. You know who my favorites are, and I'll leave that to you. But yeah, there's Sussex friendly spaces, and I'm so impressed with everyone working so hard. So thank you. Okay, and so on to the Ginger Avenger. Uh-oh, that's not it. Oh, as a matter of fact, let's do Madam Duchess today. Yeah, we'll end with Madam Duchess. Oh, Cynthia, thank you so much.